Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm coming off of holidays, and I gotta tell you, holy smokes, you know what it's like. Have you had one of those holidays where it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back to work. This was so great. This has been so much fun. This has been amazing. We were boating. We were out on the lake. We're on the water. I'm talking to you from my office in my studio right here overlooking the gorgeous lake of Kuchicheng. And it is absolutely beautiful today. It's going to be hot and humid and all those wonderful things. And you're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, if only I could extend the vacation. Well, the reality is I don't want to. I wanted to get in here and I wanted to see all of you and I want to share with you the skills that you need and want to have in order to elevate your success and get to those 10s, 20s, and 30 units per month. Here's the most important part. Here's the big kicker. This is the stuff that pseudo teachers, trainers, and coaches don't deliver for you. And I will never do that to you. Getting to 10, 20, and 30 with so many teachers, trainers, and coaches that are in the automotive industry is a one-time event for them. If they get you there, hey, great, pat on the back. I told you you could do it. Follow my system and you'll get those results. With my system, it's with predictable consistency. That's the secret. Who cares if we only do it once? We've got to hit it every single time. And this is the kind of thing that I obsessed over, that I geeked out about while away on vacation. It's like, how do we get everybody just within our realm, just within our group, to get to those predictable numbers? Because it is so possible. We had 3 members, by the way, break the record last month when the majority of our dealer clientele tell us that it was a very tough month. It was, for some of them, their most difficult month in the past. From profitability and volume sales standpoint, the most difficult month in several years, which is hard to believe, but it isn't. When we think about it and how inflation has taken its toll on the rising price of automobiles, you must all be encountering a number of customers that are saying, how much are they? Are you kidding me? Which led me to believe that this is the right time for mastering negotiation. Yes, you need to know who the customer is that you're dealing with, and that doesn't necessarily talk to and address mastering negotiation. But in the Buyer Odyssey of the first step of the manifesto, so if you're not in double-digit sales, at least over 10, and getting into the 20s, and you want to be at 30, like my good friend Glenn, who I've shared with you before, who paid income tax on $1 million selling automobiles, an exclusive situation. He's a one-off that we've worked together for a very long period of time. But the point is, he understands that buyer behavior. And in the first step of the manifesto, this is what you will learn all about. I've broken it down into 4 easy behaviors. But when you think about it, nobody fits perfectly into one of those pigeonholes. So when you have the combination of any one of those 4 behaviors with respect to negotiation, now you've got a myriad of different customers. And this is what we don't do well, in my opinion, selling the most expensive product next to buying a house. This is the most expensive financial decision that all of your clients make next to purchasing a house. And for some people, at the price of house, at least in the neighborhood that I live in, they are not going to own a house very, very early or anytime soon because of supply and demand, and obviously because of price. It is even more important to recognize the necessity to become a master negotiation, because you're never just selling anything one time. Even when we went through the inventory shortage and the demand was so high and supply was so low and customers just said yes, yes, yes. If somebody said no, now you've entered the risk and the conflict zone, and you're negotiating. And this is what so many teachers, trainers, and automotive speakers don't really address. Oh yeah, we all talk about if I could, would you, and the 25 most difficult objections to overcome, and price is the number one leading reason why people don't buy, but a lot of them want to sleep on it. Many of them have not made the decision to purchase today, and even more of them want to talk to their spouse or an advisor of some kind. Price tops that list on how we negotiate, and recognizing that there are 2 types of negotiators. That's all you're ever going to meet in life. And there are 2 types of negotiation scenarios. This is what we don't get a lot of information on. And even more importantly, some of the people that you are going to deal with and do business with have gone through a formal negotiation experience. And by experience, I mean a training process in order for them to be able to either sell their wares even better, and I'm including services in terms of wares, not just products, or they just inherently know about these two types of negotiators and how you have to chameleon and morph yourself to them based on two types of scenarios. So here's what we're looking at with respect to, let me break it down really easily so you can take something away from this free training and apply it right away today, that when you're dealing with your existing portfolio and your current clientele, which also includes unsold traffic because you've already built a relationship with them, this is an ongoing process. And this is where the adage comes in, sell like you don't need the money. Now that's probably the most difficult pill for most of us to swallow, especially if you are at one car for the month. If you have sold only one car for the month, talked to a guy yesterday that he's going through that and he's like, Bill, what do I do? If I don't start selling cars, I'm going to have to get another job. I'm going to have to get a second job just to be able to stay selling cars. That's okay. If you sell one today, you've got 100% improvement, and that would be 100% closing ratio as well if you met somebody and sold them, which would be fantastic, and it's easily doable, but there's the human eraser. Is it at the expense of putting a sticker on the board? Yes, we need those stickers on the board. Sometimes we put too much focus on that we need to maintain the selling price that the manufacturer, not you, the manufacturer, put on that automobile. And I've sat in those meetings where we determined the name of the vehicle, the price of what it will sell for, based on who will be purchasing it and who will be owning it and loving it and driving it. And so that price is not easily arrived at. And of course, that is predetermined based on bi-weekly and monthly and various terms and amortization schedules, all of which you don't even know is happening, going on in the play behind you until somebody says no. When somebody says no, we have entered the risk and the conflict zone, and that's really what I want to talk about today. How you need to get comfortable with being in that risk and the conflict zone. That's what will make you a master negotiator. Knowing those 4 different types of behavior, you definitely have to know where you are in the sales process. So I'm down here at step number 6, the purchase consultation, which is part of our 8 steps to success, the second step in the manifesto. You need to have facilitated an absolutely dynamite vehicle presentation, because just walking out to the vehicle alone is negotiating. As soon as you step up in front of it, the first thing that you should blurt out of your mouth is, how do you like it? That is a trial close, a trial balloon, as I call them, sending up an opportunity to say, do you want it? I need to see that commitment. If they say, I don't like it, I don't think anything of it, I would never own that. I can't imagine that happening, but maybe it has to you. Definitely send me a comment if that happened to you. My heart goes out to you. I'm really sorry if that did. I can't imagine anybody doing that, but it could happen. Then you don't want to spend the next 3 hours trying to convince them, if they were polite enough to stay with you, that this is the right automobile for them. Again, when someone says no, you've entered the risk and the conflict zone, which means you now are negotiating. And in this particular case, if that is not the model that they want, if that is not the color that they would like to have, if that is not the trim level they'd like to go with, then we need to get on to what they would like to have. And that starts with the product presentation. We need to think of negotiation holistically. It's part of the system all the way along to gain that commitment. And of course, I have a commitment strategy of 3 simple steps that you will learn about in those presentation secrets that carries on right throughout your entire sales process. This goes right through your prospect harvesting, through your closing, step number 5, into mastering negotiation, which we're talking about now, step number 6 of the manifesto. So if you're not familiar with the manifesto, certainly drop a comment down below, and I'm happy to send you an outline and tell you more about it. And in fact, I would even encourage you to book a 15-minute discovery call with me. 15 minutes, just like Geico says, 15 minutes could change your life. It really could. In 15 minutes, if I can't share the details of the program so succinctly because I designed it and developed it that you don't get it instantly, then what kind of a speaker, trainer, author am I? Take that 15 minutes, book the call if you want to know more about the manifesto. But let's get back to negotiation. When the client says no, It does not mean that they're closing the door on this sale for you right now. And I know how a lot of you feel, especially if you're at that one for the month. Oh my gosh, my heart goes out to that individual. I've been there, did that. I've shared my story before. I'm not going to belabor it again either. It can turn around in seconds. But when you get that one client that you feel you can't let go of them, and they say, okay, Bill, I like it. The vehicle's great. You're super. It is a nice sunny day out, so it's a good time for me to buy. My vehicle's making funny noises, or I just feel I want to change, or I saw a commercial and it captivated my attention, or this one has smart cruise control and autonomous driving, which is amazing. I think that is neat. I think all cars should have it. It'd make us all better drivers on the roadway. But there's the human eraser, right? They're just erasing everything that they said, how great you are, how great the car is, how great the day is, because they said, but what's your best price? Interestingly enough, your first reaction is, okay, so let's focus on how we can lower the price to make it more attractive. That is probably the worst step that you could take. Because, and I'll prove it to you, go to your customer satisfaction scores. As soon as this video ends, do this little exercise for yourself. Create an Excel spreadsheet on your computer. I'm looking at one of the screens in my studio here. Create an Excel spreadsheet for yourself. Put the customer's name down. Put the gross profit beside the name that you sold that vehicle to them for. And then put the customer satisfaction score beside that. I guarantee you, prove me wrong. Text in the comments below that this didn't happen. But I guarantee you, your highest grossing deals have the highest customer satisfaction scores. So it really isn't price that sells the automobile. It's you. However, if you discount that vehicle, now here's the real proof in the pudding. As you go through that list and you see your gross profit and your customer satisfaction score, is your lowest gross profit, like your minimum deals, the lowest customer satisfaction score too? That's what happens. That's exactly what happens instantly, automatically, all the time. In fact, the client that holds you late on a Friday evening or a Saturday, and the manager's flicking the lights, right? They want to go home and you want to go home. And so you just do the deal to get it over and done with and take this low gross deal to put a sticker on the board and then get the customer satisfaction score in, and they just rake you over the coals. And you think to yourself, why? I did so much for them. They get such a super deal, because price alone does not sell the automobile. Yes, I know you'll argue with me. You want to debate that till we're all blue in the face, that you've lost a ton of deals to your competition because they are advertising a better price somewhere else. They are doing an advertisement to draw that client in, and then they're going to work on the sales process. You'll never know the vehicle that they purchased. You'll never know if it's apples to apples. I guarantee you it is certainly not. But here's the secret. When that client says no, that individual that is beating you out is a master in negotiation, and they are comfortable in the risk in the conflict zone, which simply means that, are we looking at too much vehicle? When it comes down to a bi-weekly, is it money, term, lease versus finance, that we can make this affordable? I know the price of cars have gone, and I can't agree more with the customer. They've gone through the roof, but the reality is they need them. And they're shopping at our facility. Every shopper is a buyer. If you don't believe that wholeheartedly with all your heart in the whole entire world, doesn't matter how much negotiation training I do with you. It doesn't matter that I tell you that there's two types of negotiators, nice and mean, nothing in between. But here's the thing. If you don't act mean back to a mean negotiator, then they'll walk all over you. It doesn't matter that I can share with you that there are two types of negotiation scenarios. Like I prefaced earlier, with your portfolio and your unsold traffic, this is ongoing business. You have to take a different negotiation perspective with them and handle it with kid gloves. On the other side of the equation, if this is a one-time deal, they're coming from a long place away, they just want your very best price, then you got to make sure that price is within the realm of possibility. And with both customers, when price is within the realm of possibility, meaning it is affordable, here's the telltale that probably no one has ever shared with you other than your seasoned veteran professional who's doing the 20, 30, and 40 cars a month. They probably said to you, yeah, you'll know when it's affordable because they don't react. Isn't that incredible? Isn't that amazing? There's no reaction. When you deliver up the price, you don't have to say, is that affordable? Is that okay? Does that make sense? You just need to say, it's designed and built to sell for. Or you need to say, we currently have it advertised for. Or you can say, it's on sale for. Or we've already discounted it, and this is the out the door, on the road, government in price. If there's no reaction, they go, that means they can afford it. Isn't that incredible? How many of us, when we go to deliver the price, hesitate? You can hear it in your voice. Like, okay, well, and then our eyes get really shifty. And then we get a little bit nervous and start moving around and look at the ground. And worse, don't say this anymore, ever again. I don't know what the best deal is. Don't ever say that anymore in negotiations. All that suggests is you're green, you don't know what you're doing, and you're wasting my time as a buyer. Go and get the person that does know what they're doing. Go get the manager. Let me negotiate with the person who makes the decision, which is another element of negotiation that we don't do really well. We have, in the automobile business, any one store, every store out there has the exact perfect system for negotiation. We may not all have the same sales process selling. Mine is 8 steps or 12 steps. I've heard of 14, 16, 18 steps. I believe that is too many. I think those are micro steps in between. That's not the point. The point is talking about negotiation. We all have the same system. And that system is an ability to get the offer out of the client if they don't simply want to accept the selling price that we have been presented with. Did you get that? That we have been presented with. You didn't make it up. You're not making up these selling prices as we go along. They're advertised. The number one most important thing to get about an advertised price with respect to negotiation is that it is advertised. We're telling the whole world what we can sell this automobile for, which means we cannot tell the advertising company, the advertising channel, the advertising platform not to deliver these advertisements to our competitors. We can't. It's not even rational. It's not reasonable. It's ridiculous. In fact, we struggle enough with telling advertisers not to advertise in other specific regions. And it especially became difficult with the internet as it just went out to the entire world and until it became geofence. And yes, then AutoTrader and all the rest of them could start controlling where as far as the ads went. But the point that I want to make is that when we advertise, deliver it up on these platforms through these various channels to get consumer interest, it's got to be a fantastic price. Now you may say, oh, Bill, I don't necessarily agree with that. You know, my used car manager charges the moon for vehicles. Our new car department is just showing the discount that you can get from the manufacturer. That may be the case, but they know as well as you do that the consumer is going to react to that and want to come in and purchase your product. And they know probably better than you do because they've done the exercise of the name, the gross, and the customer satisfaction score. Pardon me. Allergies this time of the year. The customer satisfaction score correlates perfectly well with gross profit. And so when it comes to negotiating price, we need to make sure that we're on the vehicle that is most affordable. And you're going to know that by the facial expressions and the body language. If all of a sudden you deliver a price and they go, ooh, or they go, no way, or they go, what? Or they cross their arms in front of their face and say, I'd never pay that much for a vehicle. Or I'm going to have to think about it. Or what happened to the one that was advertised for? And maybe that one was sold before, or maybe that program ended, or how much of a discount are you going to... Hey, look, when General Motors years ago was phasing out the Cobalt and bringing in the Cruze, dealers said to them in one region, you cannot introduce the Cruze until we liquidate some of the inventory. We reduce the inventory of the Cobalt. And so what did they do? There was only one thing to do. They thought the only way to sell this automobile is to discount it. And they discounted it by how much? By 10%? By 5%? 10%? 20%? That's what we're seeing with some brands right now saying 10% off, 20% off. They discounted it by 50%. Holy smokes. You know what the consumer said when they came in? The vehicle is now half the price today versus yesterday. It was half the price. You know what the consumer said? They said, that's fantastic. That's what the manufacturer is doing. Now, what are you going to do for me? Wow. in that particular negotiation scenario, and it doesn't get any tougher than that because now it's half the price. Why wouldn't you just say yes? Obviously, we haven't created an irresistible offer that people will just stumble over themselves and trip all over themselves to rush in and purchase it. What do we say that in that scenario? If this isn't the right vehicle for you, I have other less expensive, more affordable vehicles. Let's go out and have a look at that. Don't be surprised if the customer comes back with, no, I just want to see how much you'll discount it by. You say, we're currently advertising it for. I don't care what you're advertising it for. You have to care what I'm advertising it for, because when we go out to the marketplace, we cannot limit that advertisement from going to our competitors. We want our competitors shaking in their boots. Oh my gosh, they can sell it for that. That is so fantastic. We want them to feel like that. Therefore, the price that I'm serving up and offering to you right now needs to be within the realm of possibility in order for you to be able to get financed, get approved, and most importantly, want to own it and drive it and enjoy it and park it in your driveway and wash it lovingly, take it on road trips to your friends and family and love getting into it first thing in the morning going to work and last thing at night driving home. This is what the manifesto will show you and walk you through all the way through. But what I want to share with you in this free training right now is that when you look at negotiation, it is not... Negotiation doesn't happen at one particular step in the 8 steps to success. You could meet a customer on the showroom floor. You could receive a telephone call. You could even receive an email that says, what's your best price? Well, you need to get a no before you ever need to serve up a less expensive price. Did you know that? Until you get a no, we have not entered the risk and the conflict zone, which doesn't necessarily mean that we're negotiating. But anybody can ask, hey, what's your best price? Or how low will you go? Or what's the discount? Or how much more can you give off? Just like in that particular case of the Cobalt leading into the Cruise and discounting the vehicle so radically like that. When you get a no, now we have entered the risk and the conflict zone. Now there is various steps that we can take. And the first step that you want to do is make sure that you're on the right vehicle. That's basically a statement of goal and objective. That's the first step in any formal negotiation that a proper negotiator, or certified negotiator, or even a lawyer that has gone through a certified negotiation program will start with. A statement of goal and objective. And it's clearly delineated. Are we aligned? Is this what we want? Well, in our particular case, they're standing in the showroom, they're calling us on the phone, or they've emailed in, obviously, but you need to reiterate that statement so that I understand you correctly. This is exactly what the vehicle you would like to go with. Now, this is the selling price of the vehicle. Is that affordable? And they could say, well, how much are you going to knock off? They didn't say it was not affordable. So we have to reiterate that again. Is it affordable to make sure we're aligned? From that stage, then we can go to the next step, which is to create the major and minor chart. What are the major issues for them that they will never concede, they'll never let go of in negotiation, that they must win in order for them to move forward on this automobile? And what are the major concessions for you? Then there must be some on that list, some less important things on both sides of the equation, less important for you, that you can trade back and forth with, which will then lead us to the compliance mechanisms, which are the offer, the bill of sale, your worksheet, taking deposits, and then, of course, finalizing the agreement, which is straightforward, and that's putting them into the finance services offices, the business office, whatever you like to call them, the F&I department, and that finalizes the contract. Now they are bound to that automobile, and we are bound to selling and delivering it to them. Those are the critical steps of negotiation. That's the mechanics. That's the theory of how it happens. In the manifesto, I'll walk you through the talk tracks and the process and the body language, because you've got to look for that body language. What are they telling you subconsciously that they may not even know that they're doing? This is what will make you a master of negotiation. Hey, look, my name is Bill Harvey. I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed this session on mastering negotiation. Next week, we'll move on to the blueprint, and I want to share with you where you can find opportunities, especially this time of the year when business may be a little topsy-turvy, a little unpredictable. There isn't as much much flow coming into our traditional pipelines of showroom, walk-in, phone in, and the e-leads, and how you can really make this your month to do double digits, break over the 10, into the 20s, and get to the 30s, because it's what you bring to the table that people buy from. It's not necessarily the advertisement. It's not necessarily the brand. Yes, all of that is important. If your brand is unknown, if your brand is not trustworthy, if your dealership is not easy to get to and brand new without a recognized address such as Google or Maps or Android Auto can find, then yeah, that would definitely influence. But I don't think any of us are in that situation anyhow, so it doesn't really matter. The point is, we'll take you through that blueprint of opportunities next week in order for you to be able to get into those 10s, 20s, 30s with, here's the most important part. This is the stuff I really want to get. I will guarantee that I'll get you into those thresholds, through those thresholds with predictable consistency. That's the secret to my program. That's the difference that I bring to the table. Again, my name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy. Thank you so much for joining me. And if you know somebody else that could really benefit by these training videos, and then go through, look down below, scroll down through to other videos, send them a suggestion. Tell them to join the group. It doesn't cost anything to join the group. And of course, if you want to know more about the manifesto and you want to break through those ceilings into the teens, into the 20s, into the 30s with predictable consistency, then I'm more than happy to do a 15-minute telephone call with you, show you all the details of it. And if you think it's right for you, and I think you would be a good fit for us, then we'll explore working together. Again, my name is Bill Harvey with the Auto Sales Academy. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you again next week. Bye-bye for now.